under Supplementary Schedule 1, we provided for 23 billion meant for an activity under National Council for Sports. This was an anomaly. It was by error, and what I'm just seeking now is Parliament to allow me correct this error and these funds move to the appropriate vote, which is the National Council for Sports. No additional, no subtraction. I'm not seeking for new money. I'm just seeking for authority to be allowed to move money from the wrong vote to the right vote.
There are two activities which are intertwined. For us to be able to host, to be granted the rights to host the Africa Cup of Nations in 2027, the regulations of CAF require that we should have hosted another competition before. And for us to be able to be granted, we also accepted to host CHAN. CHAN is a different competition, and that is coming in 2024, in September. So for us to be able to host that competition, again, the three countries, we needed resources to prepare the hosting. And CHAN, our plan is to host it in only one stadium, and that is Mandela National Stadium. And that's what these resources are meant to do, prepare for CHAN. And then the Afcon costs that have been included in this is simply preparation. Just this weekend, we received the inspection team, and these expenses are already going on. That actually, we expected to receive these resources in about December, but up to today, expenses are going on. Inspection teams are flying in and out in preparation of the main team that is going to come and sign a contract with us to host Afcon 2027. So we're already running late, but these are not the resources to construct the stadiums. These are resources to prepare. And if we don't do it now, we run a danger of losing the rights to host the Africa Cup of Nations. I beg.
Presented a policy statement to the sessional committee. Sessional committee reported it to the budget committee. Budget committee reported it to this house, and the house approved. So when the minister alluded to the issue that there was an error, it is an indictment on this house. The process of budgeting under Article 90 is that the sectoral committee handled the matter. It reported to the budget committee. Budget committee reported to this house. So when the minister makes a statement that it was an error by the government or whoever, it is an indictment on the committees and this house. I want to be clarified.
It is not an indictment in the committee.
So we approved an error.
The formulation of the budget is by executive.
We should have the record that this particular appropriation in supplementary on that day happened at the last moment when we were in this house. I and several colleagues sought to get clarification, and it was not allowed. I want to repeat so that you follow that this particular appropriation, when we processed the supplementary, the minister did by a casual letter, and it was brought here, and the Madam Speaker even put on the record, it was never part of the schedules that was brought to this house. You just bypassed and crossed casually and submitted that now you are alternating it. And we sought to question at that time, because it was not processed, even the sectoral committee did not actually process that. And now you have come and you are saying it was done in error. Madam Speaker, this could be a very serious matter that the Ministry of Finance casually thinks they can first hide some money, and then later he comes and says this is an error and needs to be corrected. Madam Speaker, even the procedure for passing the supplementaries and budgets is that we are appropriate to vote. And I've labored before to say that those votes are actually equivalent to clauses that we are actually passing a law. And when you want to amend the law, which is what you are doing, you come here through a bill. If you want to amend any clause of a law, because we have already passed it, this vote, it is already a law that should be implemented. And now you want to amend it here, and you have just come casually as it is. It shouldn't be that way. So I wanted to raise this matter to you, Madam Speaker. First of all, I agree that this minister must not take this house for granted, like he does always. Yes. We have forgiven him so many times, and he has now taken this house for granted. He thinks he can just walk and do his things and get away. The law is there, and it must be implemented. And it is you, Madam Speaker, who should ensure that these laws are actually followed. So may this minister then be sent back to go and follow the correct procedure. This house will not go anywhere. We shall entertain you and follow the due process and reallocate the money as and when you have proposed.
That plans are underway to expand Gulu Airport and also do the road Konayel, Konaboke, Konaicheme to Bobi, so that if the team lands in a Gulu, then takes the shortcut to Lira. The issue of Soroti Flying School, if you recall, this was an East African facility. And we are still, through the Ministry of East Africa, we are still fighting to get this facility under the government of Uganda. We are still negotiating with the other member countries, that is the original member countries of East Africa, that's Kenya and Tanzania, to let go of this facility so that the government can now invest in the facility knowing it's our facility. The negotiations are still ongoing, and we are waiting to see how far we'll go with this. So it's now very difficult for me even to get money from Minister of Finance to fully invest or get a vote for this school, because we are not owning it as a government.
Aviation facilities other than Entebbe that we have. Madam Speaker, I would want to seek clarification from the minister that as we plan for these additional ones in other places in the country, what is the plan of the ministry in as far as ensuring that we harnessed the best possible use of Soroti Flying School, which has the second longest tarmac runway other than Entebbe in the country, which probably has some of the biggest aviation facilities and equipment in the country after Entebbe, because I don't hear this. Number two, Mr. Minister, I know that you're looking at the visitors flying into Gulu, but as you know, Soroti is only 1 hour away from Lira. We would be glad for you to also tell us what you are thinking in terms of road infrastructure around this sub-region. I thank you.
As we look at these facilities that will be built, to also begin to consider some of the areas that are near. For example, when you look at Akibwa in Lira, a stadium like Paje Stadium would be the best place to prepare for the players as they would go for the tournament. Again, we have Gulu Airport. That would be the best place where the players would fly in. And so we need to look at places like Gulu.
And Soroti.
Exactly. Places like Gulu, Soroti, Arua, and nearby places. And we need to invest and prepare those places. And so, Right Honorable Speaker, it would be procedurally correct for the ministry to put resources.
You have already said, you have already given a... The moment we don't do this again, Omara will be the first person to go and make noise on social media. Akibwa, 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 Akibwa. But what we want, as the minister said, one, we must host Afcon. We must host CHAN. But also don't make mistakes. Don't make mistakes. Do the right thing. Do the right thing.
Under Afcon, we are expected to prepare quite a number of playing grounds. And these are quite a number. I don't have them on my fingertips.
I have the president of FUFA who knows the playing grounds. The stadiums that I know are Akibwa and Hoima. Akibwa has already been visited by the contractors. the contract is already being made by AG. So we want to know which places are going to be worked on locally. Can we hear?
I think what the Honorable Mapenduzi raises is a great matter for us to take notice of. Rather than the infrastructure based on roads and others, but also the sports infrastructure. Probably we would use this opportunity not to only focus on the big stadia, but also what we call the regional feeder stadia, or even at district level. For example, creation of better stadia, we can even talk of go for region in Kigezi and pick one in Kacheka. Then we pick on the divisions of Kampala each, where we have the highest concentration, and the metropolitan Wakiso, Entebbe municipality, and use part of these funds to improve sports infrastructure. And if you came up with such a proposal, I can assure you, I don't think there is any member of this House that would decline to support you. Even in as much as we might not all come here to ask for big stadia, but the backup support infrastructure, training, not necessarily training grounds, but when we were in Rwanda for the recent East African Games, we had those mini stadia, the small ones, where, you know, at regional level, which might not have a big capacity of over 3,000 people, or over 5,000 people, but even if it was 2,000, well hoarded, but with changing rooms, and then we can improve, we can say that out of Afcon and Chan, this is exactly what we got as benefit. So we can have it in Ankole, in Kigezi, regionally, and in Kampala Metropolitan at every division.
We have been investing in a Sorot Flying School. We even bought aircraft. President Museveni is the one promoting East African community. Can you clarify to this parliament your discussion to own? How does it stop you from investing money to host, to allow the guests use the facility, to make it become better, so that when President Museveni, the Speaker of Parliament, with the MPs go to other countries, we can say this facility for East Africa, but Uganda is investing money, and it's a model that we desire for the East African cooperation.
Honorable Minister, I am happy that you said that at the moment the government of Uganda is not able to invest heavily on this School of Aviation because it belongs to the former original East African community. Mr. Speaker, I would like to request the Minister that as it goes on to clarify on what the Honorable Kanya has raised, I would like you to also help me understand who at the moment pays the common cadre staff who work at this aviation school. For instance, the accountants, the administrators, the human resource officers, and so on. Number two, what about the technical staff, the engineers, the instructors, and the other pilots? If it is the government of Uganda, is this investment or not? Why then do you keep people paid without making the facility more economically viable? I thank you.
I like the debate that is going on. But Madam Speaker, while we congratulate the ministry of the significant works that have been done at Entebbe International Airport, the debate is now talking about the airstrips. We are excited about the African Cup of Nations, hosting those visitors. But Madam Speaker, on a daily basis, we have tourists coming into this country. So the debate should extend. If we are talking about airstrips, we have, for example, Kisoro airstrip. And Kisoro is a place where we get 60% of our tourist revenues because of the mountain gorillas. It is in a very poor state. Some of the notices have been issued, all the time being closed, opened. We have Kidepo, and we have others that serve the tourism industry. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I would like to request that the Minister is given time to table a comprehensive report about the status of these airstrips and what is the strategic plan, because we have seen directives by the President to rehabilitate some of these airstrips, and we have not seen anything being done. So rather than have piecemeal cherry picking of one airstrip and leaving the others, let's have a comprehensive status so that we can debate. Because African Cup of Nations will come, they will go away. But the tourists are coming every day, and we have airports and airstrips that have been neglected. I beg to submit.